So, tell me something terrible.
Ooh, like, wait, the one between the two, the...
Sports. Basketball.
Right.
College basketball.
The
March
final
Madness.
two, the final two?
Yes, the final game after
The final four?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I just needed to confirm the championship.
But they don't start until like 9:30 tonight.
Why?
Fuck if I know.
Oh, shit. We have 20 minutes then.
We do. Oh, and it's Kansas versus North Carolina. It's not even like it's West Coast teams.
I don't know.
Anyway.
And it's what, a Monday?
Yeah.
Guys, we're all old, yo.
Right?
We wanna go
it's
to
like Monday
bed.
Night Football. Like nobody watches the second half of Monday Night Football. Well, people probably do, just not us.
Yeah. Just like not three
I'm
quarters
not staying
of the
up till
country.
midnight to watch a football game.
No. Only California, like in the West Coast, are going to stay up that late. Everybody else, three quarters
Well,
of
it's
the
not
country
that
has gone
late
to bed.
There
Right.
the game starts at 6, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why three quarters of the country has already gone to bed.
Yeah. Anyway,
It's dumb.
That was Sports Minute with
Ooh.
Tell Me Something Terrible.
Yeah.
That's all you get.
Yep.
Baseball starts Friday.
Woo sports.
That's more important to me.
Baseball?
Yeah, it starts Friday.
Yep.
Yep. And it's 30 degrees out here. Anyway.
And it just snowed today.
Yeah. Super exciting
Yeah.
stuff.
We came back. We left with snow on the ground. We came back and it snowed.
Yeah, it feels like we haven't done this in forever because we haven't done this in forever.
Yeah.
It's
been
been
a couple
2
weeks.
full weeks.
Yeah.
So we were on vacation and we uploaded the trailer. Let us know if you like it, hate it, didn't listen to it. Either way, we're just here for the shameless interaction on social media.
Which we don't do a lot. I realized on our road trip we had ample opportunity to post things. I have pictures of Dick's Road that I never posted.
Oh, what are you doing?
I know. I should make a compilation of all the really horrible things from our road trip and
I got
post
that
it.
one photo from the bathhouse where it's like, don't sit down, wash your ass, whatever it said on it. Yeah.
Oh, it just now dawned on me too. The picture, that wax museum, Jesus
Yeah.
isn't even fully on the cross. His arms are just free hanging off to the side.
He's ascending?
He's working on those shoulders.
He's ascending.
He's ascending.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Is that what it really looked like inside of the tomb? No one knows though.
Yep.
It was an interesting museum.
It was. Anywho, back to podcast. Mm-hmm. Do you want to start this one?
Yep.
You got to say the thing.
Oh, hi, I'm Tiffany.
Hi, I'm Scott.
And you're listening to Tell Me Something Terrible.
Yeah, you are. Post-vacation, lol.
Yeah.
Hang with us. We'll get in the groove, or we won't. Either way, you're here.
Did you get that moth?
It's not a moth. It was like some weird little bug.
Oh.
I was protecting your water.
Oh, thank you. I really
Yes,
appreciate
that's
it.
the act of chivalry for the night. Let's move forward.
Such a gentleman. So glad I married you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm doing this on then?
No.
Okay. So what's the one thing that we got super nerdy and did every single night while we were there?
We watched shitty movies.
What shitty movies?
All the Lake Placids.
Yes.
Well, the first 4.
Yes.
Which for true Lake Placid fans, those are the real 4. Just kidding. There's one and then a bunch of crappy sequels.
Yep. Crappy.
So wait, is it
They're-
based on a true story?
Yeah. Well, it's based. I'm going to tell you the inspiration behind it.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, it's inspirational in its own right.
Mm-hmm.
Rip Betty White, but
Oh, it's the greatest. So, nestled in the hills of the Adirondack Mountains in northern New York, not Maine, sits the smooth, dark waters of Lake Placid.
is it actually a real lake?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why they chose it. So, in the movies, it's based off of a fictional lake, like Black Lake or something like that.
Yep, Black Lake.
Yep. And so, but they realized,
Because in number 4, they're supposed to be going to Clear Lake and they end up at Black Lake.
oh my gosh.
Don't you remember?
Yes. Now I remember. So the plot of the movie, if you guys haven't watched it, it's amazing. It's one of Betty White's best roles. It's campy and awful. You got like a 47% on IMDb.
And that was the best of
Rotten
all the
Potato.
movies. Rotten Potatoes?
On Rotten Potatoes. On Rotten Tomatoes, it was 47%.
That's Russia's movie website. That's a terrible joke.
We can't make Russian jokes. We know
No, I can make all the Russian jokes we want.
now
Yeah.
that we're not actively like they're not actively.
Well, I mean, yeah.
It's not fresh.
It's not the headlines anymore. Yeah.
No, people are more concerned about Chris Rock getting bitch slapped by Will Smith.
Yes.
Anyway, the premise of the story is that there's like these 30 some odd foot long man-eating alligators in the lake of this tiny little small town. That's the premise.
Yep.
It's campy. It's amazing.
And they run like 75 miles an hour, and they can jump, and they flip boats, and
yep.
Eat helicopters.
And Betty White feeds them cows and her dead husband.
Yep. It escalates quickly.
It does. So they named it Lake Placid because Lake Placid was an actual famous lake, and they were riding off the high of the fact that it's hosted the Olympics twice.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So it's a lake that everybody's heard of. Mm-hmm. So that's why they named it Lake Placid. Doesn't take place at Lake Placid at all. So the actual Lake Placid is a 2,170 acre lake that holds a sleepy little village that hosted the Olympics twice, and it has 3 small islands, a ghost, and the inspiration for one of the greatest campy movies of all time, Lake Placid.
Okay.
Okay.
A ghost? Just one?
Just one.
Okay, cool.
So I'm going to tell you... Oh, and also... There are 2 video games that were developed to promote Lake Placid.
Oh, yeah?
One is Lake Placid Croc Drop that came out in 1999 when Lake Placid was released. And the other one is Lake Placid Croc Alley, which came out in 2007 when the sequel
what systems were those on?
I have no idea.
Okay.
But we need to find them.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you about the disappearance and subsequent finding that inspired Lake Placid. It has absolutely nothing to do with the plot at all. The only thing...
Shocking.
Yeah, the only thing similar to the movie and the untimely death of our leading lady is that there's like a perfectly preserved body in the lake. No, they found her.
Okay. Oh, there was.
There was.
Okay.
Yeah, they found her. So,
you said there is, and I was like, wait, what?
Well, in this story and in the movie, there's...
Yeah.
They were like, oh, this lake.
Mm-hmm.
And that's literally the only thing that is similar.
Okay.
So, September 21st, 1933, Mabel Smith Douglas, who is the dean of New Jersey's College for Women at Rutgers, headed out onto Lake Placid to spend the afternoon to herself, rowboating along the pristine waters of Lake Placid with the goal of collecting leaves for decoration.
It's strange. It's 1933, I suppose.
Yes.
Do you know... We've brought this up before, so I'm testing your knowledge.
Oh, great. Was it from a year ago?
Do you know where Rutgers University is?
New Jersey.
What town? It's funny. Piscataway.
This is back that wasn't too long ago, that episode, though.
Yeah, I don't remember why we talked about that one time, but we did.
Yeah, it was because the one chick that got murdered in the library.
Oh, yep, Penn State.
Yep. So Mabel was with her daughter on a trip to the family-owned cabin at Lake Placid to take a reprieve from her overworked, stressful life. While she was on her way to being one of the most successful women of the era, her personal life was falling into shambles. Her husband had unexpectedly died in 1917.
To a crocodile?
No, I honestly couldn't find his death. Like, I only found a few articles.
It was so unexpected they didn't even do an obituary.
No.
They didn't have time.
Nope. And also trigger warning for suicide. Her son completed suicide 6 years later.
Okay.
And then Mabel had retired in 1932 due to ill health after dedicating 14 years of her life to growing the College for Women because she was like the very first dean when it opened. And then after she retired, she promptly checked herself into a psychiatric hospital where she had a 1.5-year hospital stay.
Wow.
Uh-huh. Yeah. She went from like riding high to a mental breakdown.
She went from compartmentalizing to not.
Yeah. Had herself a little Menti B, locked herself in the hospital.
Yeah. She's like, I can't do this alone. Let's get in a hospital.
Yep. So... after that stay, that was when her daughter, in the summer of 1933, took Mabel up to the cabin. When Mabel did not return from her afternoon rowboat and leaf gathering sesh...
I can just hear it with like a flower crown just getting after it.
Oh, yeah. No, they had big hats back then, or like little parasol, like little umbrella.
Oh, see, I guess I wanted to be more hippie. This is 30s, not 60s.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, a search team was sent out when she didn't return. Her rowboat, the type of which was notorious for being unstable and dangerous for beginning rowboaters such as herself, was found capsized nearly 3 miles away from the shores of her cabin fully across the lake near Pulpit Rock. This is also the deepest area of the lake. Police dragged Lake Placid and searched the surrounding mountain trails, but to no avail. 30 years later, September 15th, 1963, two scuba divers, Richard and Jimmy...
Two for scuba?
Yeah, two for scuba.
Along Came Polly? Is that Along Came Polly?
Yeah, the guy with the ferret.
Yeah, with the scuba instructor?
Yes.
Was that Along Came Polly?
Yeah, because his wife... Is it? Yeah, in the beginning, his wife cheated on him with the scuba diver.
Right?
I'm like 92% certain.
Okay, I'm questioning it. Like, wait.
The more you question it, the more I doubt that it was, but I'm pretty sure it was.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's go with it.
If not, yep, we're going with it.
It's a movie, for sure.
100%.
Yes.
So, Richard and Jimmy were the first ones to go down into the waters off of Pulpit Rock. So the group was set off to explore some of the deeper waters of the lake, and as the pair from this like scuba diving group descended, they spotted an old guidebook sitting on the ledge in the water, and then between 95 to 105 feet, sources varied, down the cliff face into the water, the two say they saw what they initially thought was a mannequin laying in a prone position with her knees pulled up to her chest.
Huh.
So this is 30 years later.
I thought it was a mannequin.
Yep, they said they thought it was a mannequin.
So you're saying preserved. She's like got skin still?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yes. So, one of them, once they reached what they thought was a mannequin, they were like, oh, we're going to pull this out of the lake. It's a joke. It's a hunk of plastic, right? So one of them reached forward and to pull her up, and her arm fell off.
I mean, a mannequin's arm could fall off, so it's still...
No, like fully.
Yeah.
There's like tissue and bone and stuff.
Yeah.
So they were like, oh shit, this is definitely not a mannequin. This is a dead body. Mm-hmm. So Richard, who was the older of the two, motioned for poor 18-year-old Jimmy to stay with the body in the water, submerged, while he went up to the surface to mark her location with a flag.
That's some nightmare fuel for Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy was like...
His big brother's name is Dick, so yeah.
I don't actually know if it was his big brother. It was just a pair of them.
Okay.
But
well, the older one's a Dick, no matter what. All Richards should go by Dick.
Yes. So Jimmy noped his way out of there. He got super freaked out, just
Can you
looking.
Imagine if he went by Dick Nixon? How much better would that have been? Sorry, like all the time.
People did call him Tricky Dick.
I know, but if you'd just gone by, imagine Dick Nixon running for all Richards should go by Dick.
Yes, it would make the 15-year-old boy giggle and everybody inside. Yeah. So Jimmy freaked out, noped out of there, and decided he was going to take her along with him. He said that it had appeared as though she had died only 5 minutes before. She was so well preserved. Yeah, that they were like, it looked like she could have been alive just moments before.
So the water must be that cold?
The water and the mineral content.
Okay.
Yep. So Jimmy decided to bring her body up to the surface himself instead of waiting for poor Dick. And as he did, her face started to disintegrate as he moved her through the water. And then her other hand fell off. And then her head fell off.
Ugh.
And that
Can you imagine Jimmy just like scrambling, just like
trying to catch,
just grabbing,
slow motion too, because you're in the water,
just grabbing body parts and trying to put them back together, like you tipped over a mannequin at a
store.
Yeah, at a store. Like, oh shit, put it back.
But everything is slow motion.
Yeah.
So when her head fell off, it caused the rope that was around her neck to also disintegrate and fall off, along with the 50-pound weight or anchor that was tied to the end of it.
Oh, so this was not... She didn't fall out of her boat.
No. So, it wound up landing in the lake. They were going to go retrieve it, but the next day they went to try to find it again. They couldn't, but they don't know why they couldn't find it, because it literally just sank in the same area, and there's not a lot of heavy current, obviously, because her body was still there after 30 years, and so there's no reason for us not to find it.
It might have settled like in the soot somehow.
And it's water, who knows?
And what do you really
need it?
Yeah.
Evidence.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not a pending investigation at that point.
No, it's been 30 years. And they deduced that it was Mabel's body because she was actually the only female on Lake Placid to have known to disappear that they were never able to find.
Okay.
Yeah. So 30 years later, they're like, whoops.
Right.
Found her.
Little metal detector. We could have solved this whole thing.
Well, and I guess if you were dragging the lake, too, you wouldn't be able to get close enough to that
cliff face?
Yeah, the cliff face if she's just sitting on a ledge. Because I think that part of the water was actually 150 feet deep. So she was not sitting on the bottom.
They probably drag the lake at the top because bodies float.
Yeah, unless it's cold.
Or unless it's tied to a 50-pound weight that drags it down.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, eventually your body would disintegrate. The gases,
Yeah, in a normal situation.
You weren't so well preserved.
Yeah, but they don't know. They didn't probably know that it would be this preserved until they found her.
Exactly. Yeah. And especially in the 30s. No one knew anything. We were still like leeching people. Where did I stop at? Oh, her head fell off. There was the weight.
Yep.
Lost it in the soot. Okay. By the time that her body was brought to the funeral home, it, quote, resembled little more than a sculptor's rough clay form of an unfinished human statue.
So like Play-Doh.
Yeah.
Terrific.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Like terracotta colored or like clay cover, like that gross gray dull color clay. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We're really just painting a lovely picture for you.
Yep.
Sculpting an image.
Yes.
Okay.
Very raw meat-esque.
So it didn't take long for investigators to deduce that the body belonged to Mabel. She was the only person, like I said, to have disappeared without being found. But over the years, wild speculation as to her fate ran amok. There were rumors of murder, an accident involving getting tangled in a rope in a tippy boat. Yeah, well, it's a very tippy boat.
Yeah, but you don't have the anchor rope around.
She got tangled in the rope.
Okay.
And then tipped over.
Whatever helps you sleep at night.
Yep. But based off of the evidence and of like Mabel's unstable mental status and her life sort of falling apart, most people assume that she had completed suicide in the lake rather than go back and face reality of what waited her back in Jersey.
And for the record, going to collect leaves in a boat, that's the worst fucking place to go collect leaves. Just walk around. Just go where the trees are. There's no fucking trees in the lake.
That is true.
Just walk around. There should have been suspicious
and
when
no
she's like,
it.
I'm going to go get some leaves.
On the lake.
In a boat? Like, those are like in the yard or in the woods.
Up, in the air.
Anywhere.
Yeah. The exact opposite of what you're doing.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah, they should have seen some flaws.
That's a valid point.
What do you need an anchor for? You're in a rowboat. Like, that's just heavy. Like, just need paddles. I've never seen an anchor in a rowboat.
Yeah, well, if she went to the
it's a big lake, I suppose.
Yeah, it is a very big lake.
But still.
But yeah, more often than not, if you're going to make it to some place, you're going to like drive your boat up onto a shore.
Yeah, or where the shore where the trees are for the leaves. Yeah, exactly.
That you rode 3 miles across the lake to get to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're right.
Just a little suspicious.
And no one questioned.
No.
There's a book you can get. It's like a 51-page book. It's called The Lady in the Lake. It's by a local where it goes over more detail because there are some people that were suspicious of murder because apparently there's a lot of incompatible evidence.
Oh.
What's the word I'm looking for? Not incompatible.
That's the
you've
led the witness. That's all.
Whatever. When you take it literally doesn't matter.
You said the word and now I can't get off of that wrong word.
Yeah,
anyway,
it's the wrong word.
Cannot compute.
Yes. Where evidence doesn't line up.
Yes.
Gosh, literally simple basic like English and I'm gone.
Okay, good.
It doesn't matter.
You should
Lost my spot.
You should write more papers.
I should definitely write some more papers.
Only read what you write. Don't stray from the script here.
Don't stray from the information on your paper. So she didn't want to go back to Jersey. So her official cause of death, because they didn't have a lot of the stuff like the anchor and the rope and all those things. It was so long ago. Her official cause of death marked on her certificate by the coroner was an accidental drowning.
Okay.
Yeah.
So wait, did they not do a death certificate until her body was found?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. I think you have to be gone for a certain amount of years before the family can apply for a death certificate.
30 years seems like the appropriate time.
I think the disappearance is 7. No, she just hightailed it to Canada. She's like, I'm not going anywhere back to Jersey.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. Found it. So her body...
I was like, what are we looking for?
So her body was so well preserved due to the cold temperatures of Lake Placid and the mineral content of the lake. Again, I'm sure if you wanted to read the book, good luck finding it. You might be able to find a copy.
Yeah.
They actually would probably go into deeper information about it, but not us. We're here for shallow dives. So Mabel is now buried in the same cemetery as her late husband and both of her children because her daughter had completed suicide in 1948 after her own husband had died of an early death.
This family's got some bad juju.
It really does.
Like, all of them.
Yes. So it was said now that a ghostly figure of a woman can be seen hovering near Pulpit Rock, having been spotted by both campers and boaters. So there's our ghost.
Okay.
There's our body. We have a lake, preservation
You've also
capabilities.
mentioned earlier, you hinted at, she's the only person that went missing that they hadn't found. So that means that's not the first person to ever go missing in said lake.
Yes. So that was some of the stuff that I was like looking for. This was harder to research for than you realize because literally there were articles from like October of 2021 and like early 2022 where they had found not people in the lake, but people like hikers that have gone missing because this is the Adirondacks. So there's tons of lakes. There was a serial killer. Like I have now more things to look into, and I was just gonna like mash a few of these stories together, and then as I started looking into these things, I was like, oh man, these actually might need their own episodes. So
and we didn't want to do like a 3-hour podcast.
No. We already did that. I'm good.
Okay.
So we have the lake, we have the preservation capabilities of the water, and the idea of like a sleepy little village on a quiet, smooth lake tucked in the mountains.
I thought you were going to start singing Beauty and the Beast. Quiet town. Is that what it goes?
Yeah.
Full of simple people?
No.
What is it?
Little people.
Why are they little people?
No, is it?
Little town full of quiet people? Quiet town full of little... Anyway.
I don't remember.
Anyway.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Our child listened to that, like watched that nonstop. It was one of my favorite Disney movies.
We've blocked it out.
I cannot think of the lyrics.
Anyway.
We're going to have people just screaming everything at us this episode.
That's fine. That's the only way we get tweeted at. So bring it on.
More mistakes, more shameless plugging.
Yes. Yeah. We're doing these. This is on purpose at this point.
Yes. So, and then we also have like little old people, like Betty's, the old couple that.
Yeah, Betty White.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, which, like I said, best role ever for Betty White. So we've got all of these things, and so now we need to bring up the Crocs. So they have the Crocs.
Yeah, okay.
So technically, they haven't found crocodiles in Lake Placid or the Adirondacks, but they have found gators. In 1903, the New York Times ran a story titled "Alligator in Lake Placid." It details
what year is that?
1903.
1903? Mm-hmm. Do they know what alligators are? Just kidding.
Yes, they do. So it details the story about a pair of brothers, the Stevenses, who received an alligator as a gift from a friend in Florida.
Okay,
yeah.
Great gift.
Because they're rich kids, so they were like, take this alligator. So it quickly outgrew the bathtub that it was being held in.
Shocker.
Yeah, and the brothers decided to release it into the lake, assuming that it would most likely not survive the frigid late winter temperatures. But a few weeks go by when the ice melted, and the townspeople and tourists were greeted with the sight of a gator sunbathing on the shores of Muir Lake, which is nearby to Lake Placid.
Oh, okay.
So it was small and posed no threats, so the gator became the summer's largest attraction.
Like a mascot.
Mm-hmm. And then over winter, it is assumed again that the gator would not survive. But the following years, newcomers would report the alligator sightings to authorities, who just told them that it was the locals' family,
like a pet. Yeah.
Yes. So they're assuming one of two things happened because it did live for a few years.
Just put a bell on it, then everyone will hear it coming.
Exactly.
No big deal.
They did see it over the years. They either assumed that it did manage to find a place that it could hibernate where it was warm enough underground in a den, or they think the Stevenses probably brought it inside and let it overwinter in the house, and then they put it back in the lake.
You think they could handle it still?
I have no
as it got bigger
clue.
and bigger.
I have no clue.
Okay.
So that was that alligator story, and then apparently the alligator trade between Florida and the Adirondacks, because there's a bunch of rich people, was thriving during the late 1800s and early 1900s. And a ton of people's gators would either escape or just get released throughout the lakes in northern New York. So the lakes in the Adirondacks used to be infested with like
gators, not crocs.
Little gators.
Okay.
And then in 1933, a swim instructor named George Martin decided that Lake Placid needed another gator. So he went to Georgia, wrestled himself a 7-foot-long alligator. He had a little bit of help. In Okefenokee Swamp.
Nice area.
Nailed it.
Yep.
He wired his jaws shut, put him in a crate, strapped that crate onto the running boards of his old 1930s car, tied the gator's tail to the rear fender, and then drove it back from Georgia to upstate New York.
Okay. Sorry, I'm fighting a
fighting a moth over here.
Bug.
Oh, it's a stink bug?
Yeah, it's dive bombing me.
Way worse.
Right?
So this is where the gator, who was named Mike.
Dumbest name for a gator. Of all the names.
You don't like Mike?
I think it's a dumb name for a gator.
I think it's a great name for a gator.
Why not go? I always go with Gary the Gator. Go with an alliteration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gus
Master
the
Gator.
That would have been very scandalous for the 1930s.
Well, a little bit, yeah.
And so Mike lived his days out in the waters of Lake Placid during the summers, and then winters he stayed at some lady's personal menagerie who was outside the village of Lake Placid.
Okay.
Yep.
She's got a heated pool with a gator in it.
She had a menagerie, so she just had tons of random.
You say
animals.
Menagerie like
the menageries are like
a funny farm full of weird shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ostriches and parrots and
call it what it is.
Whatever. Yeah.
She could have had no pets if the gator got loose, but yeah.
Yeah. And then one of the last sightings of an alligator in the Adirondacks was in 1957 when 2 bow hunters spotted a 32-inch alligator treading water near a beaver dam.
32. Okay, so not huge.
Yeah, not huge, little.
So they could have bow hunted it.
They did. That's exactly what they did.
Okay, of course.
They shot it in the arrow in the back of the head, killing it. So
probably had it mounted.
Probably
left the arrow in it.
So no one knows how long this gator was living in the water for, but it's assumed that it was another released pet.
Yeah.
So those 2 stories.
Normally, you get ducks for Easter, some stupid shit.
Yeah.
And then people try to release those. Don't buy gators.
No, absolutely not.
They're not finite. Mm-mm. I mean, eventually they are, but they get gigantic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a duck that you release, don't release them in the wild. They're domesticated ducks. They have no instincts left.
No.
Absolutely not.
That's like if we let our dog outside for more than 2 hours.
She wouldn't know what to do with herself.
No.
You would find her curl up in a ball having a panic attack.
I mean, she'd wander I think would just wander until she died.
And just, oh no.
Oh.
Why? I mean, you're not wrong, but why?
Her instincts are, I mean.
She can hurt some stuff.
Yeah, like cats, our cats would be fine.
Yeah.
That dog,
absolutely
useless.
Not. And so are those ducks.
Yes.
So don't release them. But they're not going to eat your hand.
A duck?
Yeah.
No.
You can feed a little bit of bread. It might get your fingers, but it's not going to really take. I mean, it might if it tried hard enough. It's not going to take a finger off. But
it's just going to be fox feed or something.
Yeah, an alligator. Yeah, they still have instincts, and for the most part, they can survive through anything. So, so these 2 stories in conjunction are how we wound up with the cinematic gold that is Lake Placid.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like how. For the bonus pod, I went cultural references, so you just had to, follow my lead.
No, I thought that I would have a fun continuation for the Lake Placid
that was
from
just
last week.
Plugging the Patreon.
Yeah.
If you haven't checked it out, you should.
Hashtag shameless plugging.
Hashtag bonus episodes. Hashtag I do a lot of work, and I would like more people to appreciate it.
Yep.
By a lot of work, I mean a quarter of the work you do in a month.
It doesn't matter. So as for the entire franchise, since it's
for Lake
technically
Placid.
a franchise.
Yes.
The OG Lake Placid grossed $56.9 million with a $35 million budget, and it features a ton of B-list actors everyone knows, but whose names you couldn't possibly think of. And also the late, great
Betty
White.
Yeah.
R.I.P. And so the first movie netted enough to go on to produce the next 5 movies.
Oh, the same people kept trying to.
I don't know if it was the same people because they had different directors and production companies, but yeah, I think they just took the profits from that movie somebody really
reinvested
ran
it?
with it. Yeah,
Oh,
just
wow.
with all of their creative endeavors, just little hearts
Yeah.
pitter pattering.
It was
over this
the
alligator in a lake.
UFO Productions, I remember.
Yes.
Yep.
And then we found that one movie that was also by UFO Productions that we thought was going to be fun and campy because of the first 5 minutes, some dude falling off the roof, and then escalated to removing body parts.
Yeah.
Graphic too. Oh my God.
Was it Truth or Dare?
Truth or Dare.
On Netflix.
Yep.
Not funny. It's funny in parts, but it's mostly
It's
just...
a straight up horror comedy, but more horror.
Yeah, mostly horror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets dark. But it was really good. Mm-hmm. So the first movie, it got a 47 on Rotten Potatoes.
Yes.
And then the sequel got 11. And then the following four movies have no scores at all.
We should go give them scores.
Yeah, we should.
I think that's the public service announcement here.
Yeah. Go watch all of the Lake Placids.
And yes.
And then give them their scores on the Rotten Potatoes.
And yeah, they're watchable. Just you're not going to want to do it sober.
No.
Like, find your substance, watch some Lake Placid 2, 3, and the final chapter, which isn't really the final chapter. It was the final chapter for then.
There's Anaconda and, then Final Destiny or something like that.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
See, we didn't.
That one came out do you know when the last one came out at?
Probably within the last 2 years.
2018.
Nice. Is Betty White in it?
No.
Reprise her role?
Well, we haven't watched it. Maybe she could be
Maybe.
there.
Yeah, we don't know.
This could actually all be Betty White's brainchild, and then she took that secret to the grave.
I wouldn't be surprised. Like, hey Betty, we want to make another Lake Placid. Can we have like $2 million? And she'd be like, oh sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know.
Yep.
She's got it to spare.
Yep.
But anyway,
that's her secret legacy.
Yes.
Is the Lake Placid.
Yes. But anyway,
was it fun?
It was fun.
Okay, good. Because next week I'll go dark again.
Oh, good. We haven't had a good murderer in a while.
What was the thing 2 episodes ago? That was a murder,
After
wasn't it?
Dyatlov Pass?
Yeah.
Kip's Taco.
Yeah, that was a murder. That's definitely a murder. He baked her for 30 to 40 hours.
No, I know.
So.
It was more of a... It's not like a traditional murder.
Yeah.
We'll say. Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks. If you've made it this far.
Congrats.
And yeah.
Look at you go. This one, it was pretty short.
Yeah.
Normally you say they're short and they're not short. That one actually was pretty short.
It was pretty short.
Okay.
There wasn't... sources real quick. Hey, that'll make it a little bit
so
longer.
I don't have to edit them in at the end?
So, Wikipedia, lakeplacid.com, the article, the story of the Lady in the Lake, Adirondack.net, Lady in the Lake, and Adirondack Daily Enterprise.com, The Lady in the Lake by Howard Riley, and AdirondackAlmanac.com, Exotic Wildlife Gators in the Adirondacks by Lawrence P. Gooley.
And only in your state, New York.
Nope.
Okay.
There was one I went down the rabbit hole for other things that were linked to Lake Placid, and only in your state was on there, but that's not a good reference because there's other better references for the one I'm going to do eventually.
Gotcha.
It's on my list.
Awesome.
My 5-page memo in my phone.
Wow.
Okay.
I have 3 screenshots for topics.
Yeah.
So I'm good for the summer pretty much.
Yeah. If you guys are wondering who's more invested.
Well, you're like ready for episode 204, and I'm like, I only got to do what is it, April? I got to do 8 or 9 more this year.
Oh, yeah, that is true.
I can kind of pace myself.
Okay.
Anyway.
All right. Have a good morning, night, day, nap, drive.
Yeah. Put us on, take a nap. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Goodbye.
Okay, bye. Oof, that was terrible. Thanks for listening to our terrible podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or wherever you like to listen. Feel free to follow us on Twitter at TMSTPod.
And if you'd like to support the show, you can find us on Patreon at Tell Me Something Terrible.